Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's just, yeah, something we can ask. Yeah. Call this meeting of the Carroll County Public Service Authority to order. Tracy, if you will, lead us in the pledge and invocation. Appreciate it.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you for the blessings you've given us and beautiful weather, Lord. And thank you for health and strength to attend the meeting. Help us do good judgment during our meetings this afternoon, now and later on. Lord, be with the sick and shut in, and just put a special blessing over them. And if anybody has a heavy heart, just touch it, Lord. And I ask all this in your precious and holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's good to see everyone out this evening. Thank you all for being here. First item on the agenda is citizens' time. Do we have anybody signed up for citizens' time? There's no one signed up for citizens' time. The next item is Dr. McBride come to speak about the Fuller Center for Housing. Dr. McBride, if you'll come to the podium, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to speak with you this afternoon. The Fuller Center for Housing is an organization like Habitat for Humanity. The same man who started Habitat for Humanity after he left that organization at age 70 plus decided that he wasn't finished yet. So he started the Fuller Center for Housing. And we have a local group called, we are a local group. In relationship to that organization, we're a covenant partner. This afternoon, I'm coming to ask that you consider waiving the fee for hooking up a water connection at 473 Coon Ridge Road. This is our third house that we're constructing in Carroll County. This one is kind of special. We've not done it this way before. We have invited a group from the national organization, people from all over the country. We got somebody coming from California, from Minnesota, from Ohio, from Pennsylvania, from Connecticut, from Georgia, and we're going to build this house in a week. Our responsibility is to get the floor system in place before they arrive, and everything's kind of falling in place to do that. We've had lots of cooperation from local citizens, local churches, local businesses to help us get this accomplished. And so this afternoon, and we're hoping to start laying block tomorrow or Wednesday, I think, actually this week. And so they need some water for that mortar, and we're hoping that can be in place. I would express appreciation to the PSA group. Dana has been the person I've spoken with most, and Jeff recently, and I appreciate their attention to looking at the project and helping us as much as they can to this point. So that's the request, and I would ask your consideration of that this afternoon.
What have we typically done in the past, Dana? I know when both of the other two are on water systems. So.
I think, and if I'm wrong, Dr. McBride, correct me, but I believe last time what we did was we waived the availability fee.
Okay.
And did the $750, I think is what you ended up,
$625.
Was it $625? Okay,
That's what we done.
the last time,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I made the motion
Okay.
last time. I know
couldn't
what we done.
remember the dollar amount, but I knew that there was some kind of discount.
Do I have a motion, if anyone wants to make a motion of how we need to handle this and move forward with it?
I still move, we waived the fees to get it hooked up.
Okay. Have a motion that we waive the fees. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Have a second. Any other discussion? Yes, sir.
I was just asking, are you waiving the availability fee and the fee for the installation? Or
Come
is it
back
just
to
the
you,
availability fee?
Mr. Jessup.
Yes, both.
Okay. Are you okay with that on your motion, Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Okay.
You're okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Not, I'll change it.
Hearing no other discussion, we'll just start the voting with you, Mr. Jessup,
Yes.
Mr. McCraw,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Dr. Littrell,
Yes.
and since I serve on that board, I'm going to abstain. Thank you all, gentlemen. I'll thank you in place of Dr. McBride thanking you, I guess, but
Absolutely.
thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for what
And
you're
you're
doing.
welcome to come visit with us during that week of May. It's the first week of May, May 2nd through the 8th. Mr. Watson, I'm assuming you're Mr. Watson. I'm not ready yet. Good to see
Nice
you,
to
sir.
meet you.
Welcome to Carroll County. You've
Thank
come to a good place. And, but we welcome you, Dana, and any of your group to come and visit with us during the build, the first week of May, May 2nd through the 8th.
Is that
Thank
in
you.
Sulphur Springs or Pine Creek?
Pine Creek.
Pine Creek.
Mhm.
There you go, Mr. Moore. A good place for you to go to one day.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all's hard work.
Okay, thank you.
And
Thank
they
you.
plan on setting that meter tomorrow. They
Great.
told me this morning they're going to.
Wonderful.
That's awesome.
That'll be a great word for the basin. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Next item on the agenda is Mr. Strauss and Mr. Bowman about the Fairhaven subdivision. Mr. Strauss was here.
We just stepped out his hat. Still there.
Guess they figured we weren't gonna do nothing.
I tell you, since he's out, we'll go ahead and we'll move on and we'll come back to him. We'll move on to the consent agenda, sections A, B, and C. I will entertain a motion to approve it, or if anybody's got any questions. I noticed, and this is just a technicality, in the April 8th claims, there was a payment to Galax for October. Did it just get passed over, or is it just that they run that far behind with their billing process? There was a check
By
for,
itself, the one by itself.
yeah,
It should be actually, I think it said October on it, but.
It does.
Actually for December, they bill too much of time. It's for December and January.
this one was one, there's one in the April 8th claims, and then there's one by itself also.
Okay, the one by itself is December and January.
Okay.
And the 8th, let me see.
It's for $44,922.
That is the debt service.
Okay.
That's that new debt service.
Okay.
That we acquired this year.
I just was trying to clarify it.
Yeah.
When it said October, it just kind of threw up a flag,
Yeah.
so it's no problem.
And that's what it was saying.
Okay.
How long does that debt service go for? Rest of my life?
Problem. It was a long term, but I can't remember exactly what it was. I'm thinking 15 years
That's
maybe.
what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That was on the upgrade that they made.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I so move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll start the voting with you, Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Dr. Littrell,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. McCraw,
Yes.
Mr. Jessup.
Yes.
All right. The next item is just new business, and we'll just go on to the new business. It says schedule a budget work session.
I guess what I'm requesting is for the board to decide a day that they like to sit down. I've made quite a few changes to it. I've tried to separate the water and the sewer.
Okay.
Need to look at the rates, the expenses, just a day that we can go through it all so we can all understand it.
Do you all prefer to do that as a board, or do you all prefer to do it just form a committee? I think last time it was me and Tracy had that pleasure. So we'll do it either way the board desires us to do it.
Really, we'll probably do a board.
I feel better when it's a board.
Because all Rex included in it.
Yeah.
You'd hate to exclude me, wouldn't you?
We can get him suited, we'll be all right.
I know we've got a budget work session scheduled for next Monday, correct?
That's correct.
What time is it?
I think we normally are planning to do it at 4:30.
But you might not be.
Be tough for me to make it before 4:30 to do that one.
Can we do it at 4:30 and then move the board back to 5:30?
I was gonna say, let's do that. Let's do the PSA at 4:30 and move the board to 5:30 maybe.
Okay.
On Monday.
Is that okay with everyone? Hearing no objections, I guess that's what we'll stand.
I mean, the 19th.
The 19th at 4:30.
That's it, the entire board.
This entire board, the PSA board.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
which one of those do you think is going to take the longest?
Probably the BOS one.
Okay.
I feel like, I mean, that's my opinion. This one usually don't take too awful long to go through it.
Yeah, when you're broke, it don't make much difference.
It ain't going to take long at all.
That's right.
Anyone else got any comments or concerns? Okay, we'll back up. Mr. Strauss is back in the room, so we'll back up to him and. Oh, okay, so we'll just hold off on till he shows up then.
We'll be here when you get ready.
Next item is project updates, just general PSA updates and radio reads.
You want to go over this? Okay. Okay, well, you've got in your packet the PSA updated. It goes through what some of the things that be done. Also, you have attached daily sheets. Just to give you a little update on the radio reads are all installed, and so far they're trying to get them all to work correctly. So hopefully we'll have that in the next few months. Being able to use it should save a lot of time. Other than that, we're chucking along as normal.
Any major leaks over the last couple of weeks that we've?
I had that one that they hit that, last one was the one that we had that incident there at, I'm gonna call it, what's it called? Calwood.
Carroll, okay.
Dr. Worrells.
At Dr. Worrell's office. Well, that's good. No, maybe I shouldn't say anything, but that's good. Next item is old business, the VML and VACO refinancing and a utility grant.
Okay, in your packet you have the information we received from VML VACO financing. It's a possibility, if the board approves this, to save about $30,000 a year. And if you'd like, I can go through it real quickly. Both of them, the refinancing, one is for a 13-year term that would replace an existing, they call it a refunding, but it's a 14-year. The refinance, a 13-year loan for $1,497,000. We currently have an interest rate of 4.5%. This would give you a fixed term for 1.93. If you have any questions about it, this is it just allows us to cut our debt service down on our yearly payments. It won't decrease the term. Be honest with you, we need the money taken off our debt service more than we need to pay it off any earlier. Both these loans are not ones that had the availability fee in it, so we'll look at financing those as we keep going.
Okay.
I think these were the ones with the highest interest rates with the 4.5% on them. The other one is a 19-year loan. It's 4.5%. It'll be at 2.18. with a ceiling on it is 3.18 after, I think it's 10 years. After 10 years, there's a rate adjustment on it with the debt being percentage at 3.18. I think out of both of them, you can save somewhere between 1 million and 1.7 million for long range, but it depends
Yeah.
on your interest rate and your full payment of your loan. So if the board is interested in doing this, I'd request a vote to allow us to move forward so we can go ahead and advertise them. Go ahead and start the procedure to have these refunded. Any questions?
Does anyone want to make a motion to move on this, or? I have a motion that we pursue this refinancing option, and do I have a second?
I second it.
I have a second. Any other discussion? Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll start the voting with you, Mr. Jessup,
Yes.
Mr. McCraw,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Littrell,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. Next, you have a utility grant. Is there?
Okay, the utility grant is the one that we received through the CARES Fund. It allowed us to offset some of the people that had difficulty paying their bill during that time. It is finished up. It has the money has been received and paid out and reimbursed from the county, so it's finished and done. The only other two things that I just want to touch on for just a second in the information is the RFP for engineering. We're going to be advertising for as-needed basis. It's expired. There's a couple things that we need for them to have in case. And also, we're going to bid out some SCADA work. There might be an opportunity in the future as far as hopefully maybe some of the recovery money might be able to be used to help some of the PSA on some of the things they need. Right now, they're having issues with their SCADA. It really needs to be updated. However, it's about a $30,000 expense, and we have 3 vendors that works on 3 different areas of the county as far as with SCADA. So we're trying to get bids and see which way is the best to go.
Okay.
What does most of the SCADA run on? Horizon, wireless, 1G, 5G?
I think some's got cellular. The radios at the 2A radios don't really work a whole lot. I think there's a lot of issues with it. Let's just put it that way. The software is out of date. The communications you're not having really needs fully updated. We're
Really,
looking at it.
most of it works on cellular according to the bills.
Do what?
According to the bills and the payouts, are most of it's on cellular. So that eliminate that if we go the other way.
Eliminate.
That eliminate the cellular bill if we go on the internet with it, or
It'll have to still be run wireless through a cellular company.
so it won't eliminate it.
Well, there's an opportunity if we were to put in. One of the things that I've been looking at is to see if the possibility of having some of our sites being used by wireless providers with fixed wireless. If we do, we might be able to rent space on the towers and get internet service. Once we get the connectability, then we can eliminate some of the costs probably.
Yeah. Well, every cell tower in the county, emergency service is supposed to have a second spot on it. Is the way that was set up originally. So y'all use that spot on every cell tower.
That would be interesting. I'll do some checking.
If they had somebody let it slide, that's the way we set it up originally when I was on that committee. We actually got the second spot down to 20 foot down, first 20. Emergency service did for the whole county.
Who runs that?
Huh.
The cell phone service does it for us, or the county's supposed to maintain that?
Second spot down, the county'd have to maintain it, but they'll do the climbing and everything. It don't cost us. So they don't
Have to
want-
pay them to,
Now you don't even have to pay them. They'll do it free because they don't want nobody else on their tires.
yeah, gotcha.
That's the way we originally set it all up when the first cell tower was built in Carroll County. You may have to dig a while to find it, but that's the way it's supposed to be.
How about I know the county's been doing the hot spots. We use the towers as a hot spot. Would that save us anything?
I think the cellular service that we receive is about the same, maybe a little bit cheaper than what you do on the Wi-Fi using fixed wireless. There's a lot of issues with SCADA. A lot of issues.
Cellular'd be better, I can tell you right off.
Any other old business anyone has?
That, I think it's Dr. Lynchum's area where the housing development or trailer park or something where we was gonna work on the water meters in spring and start putting them in. We need to start on that.
Well, we were gonna see what we had left when we finished getting all our ready roads.
Yeah.
PO read up to date.
One
We
more,
should have some.
20 some or 30 some or something,
30,
30.
right at 30. I
Is
think.
that the one on Training Center Road?
And no,
No.
Blueberry.
Blueberry, that's right. Okay, yeah, I forgot about it. Yeah.
On the training center road, how many feet of that asbestos pipes in over there? Anybody know?
Is it on Training Center or is it on
Carrollwood,
Carrollwood?
Carrollwood.
Carrollwood.
about 7,200 foot,
How much?
7,200 foot.
Before they move in the training center, wouldn't it be a great time to fix that if we can figure out how to pay for it? Before they blow it out of the ground?
See, this might work in with what the feds are doing. I know they're gonna help pay for places that has, lead in the water. They might even go as far as covering this. I don't know. That may be something we need to check on now, if this next stimulus passes.
So, you know, y'all worked on it a while back and,
It needs to be.
we need to get that out before they move in so they won't be out of water when it blows up next time.
We'll try to figure some numbers on it and see what
Okay.
it looks like.
We might even, there might be some kind of grant for a new industry or people moving in that training center for better water or something.
And the only thing I can remember us ever having any conversation that's not been discussed in a while is the with county, the payment, whatever. Is there anything on that or?
Well, we're collecting the data. This dates back to the regional water loan. I think there was a conversation probably a year and a half ago with them. We're trying to figure out what the exact cost is.
Okay.
I think currently we're being reimbursed for the fees on the part that goes to Mawsonville until the meter. But I think the concern was from the meter to the tank because it's has fire flow and it's using it for storage. So it just has to calculate it up based on the volumes. I haven't got there yet.
Okay. Anybody have anything else?
I've
What?
got something else, but
Okay.
It-
Go ahead.
it's gone right now.
Okay. When you think of it, holler.
I'd like to refer back when it gets
Okay.
there.
Mr. Strauss, and we're not trying to put you on the spot. If you, okay.
I'm really surprised we haven't showed up. We're back to the 6-inch water line.
Okay.
Update status where we're at. I got a call about whether the health department had certified it. And what Mr. Bum was able to dig up was a letter from the PSA for reconsideration of the approved materials from ductile iron to PVC. But the discussion was going on at that time also about the 6-inch tap. instead of the 4-inch tap. So with that up in the air, he did not get the final approval from the health department because he would have to resubmit the plans to the Department of Transportation because it's in a state road bed. And that's kind of where we're stuck at. We're still waiting to hear whether you'll give us the 6-inch tap and pay the tap fee in exchange for the right-of-ways, so he can submit it to the Department of Transportation and a final step with the health department. But he has the letter from the PSA that's dated over 10 years ago, where we were in the same discussion we're in now, and there was no conclusion other than the study was done, and they knew that they could provide the water service to 2 hydrants. So what he was supposed to bring was the original 4-inch and 2-inch plans today.
Okay.
The certification by the local health department, the PSA, the subdivision, the state highway administration, Mr. Dobson, Bill Dobson, and the communicades that were back and forward. But we're stuck because we don't know whether we're doing a 6-inch or a 4-inch to submit it to the state health department, which will be a 90-day process.
Well, 4-inch not gonna work for fire flow.
That's correct, and that's why he didn't go that one, even though he had everything else approved, road bed, everything. He didn't go that one extra step because he didn't know whether he had to do a system redesign for 6-inch, get it recertified by the state, both at the health department level and the Department of Transportation, because we were waiting on a decision by the PSI.
What do you think, Tracy? It's your community.
You know, I know how the VDOT stuff works. It's a slow process. It needs to.
Well, we're supposed to meet with Mr. Will Dobson, in approximately 3 weeks because he's really, really backed up.
I met with him today. I know that.
Oh, okay.
100%.
And he doesn't have a problem with it,
Mm-hmm.
but saying it and putting your signature to it are going to
understand.
be 2 separate things.
I know how all that.
He'll need to come out, do another site visit. He'll need to examine the plans.
Mm-hmm.
And his primary concern is how close are those hydrants to the road surface? That's the big thing that he brought up.
Mm-hmm.
But you know how it is putting in a water line by the state road. They've got to check that box.
Exactly.
What are the fees for a 6-inch tap?
It's 25. I think it's 25,000. I guess the question would be is this board wanting to waive that $25,000 tap fee if the engineer can prove that the system will work?
How many lots was you?
It's
Proposing?
under, I believe it's under 40 lots. I don't have my subdivision.
Okay,
plan.
but you're close to that, between 35 and 40 lots.
Yeah, between 37 and 42. I think originally it was 42 lots, and then we did some redesigning to accommodate some other things that have brought the count down. But
How much is a 4-inch tap?
I don't have those memorized, we'll have to pull it up online.
But see,
That
what
was
ends up
already
happening
agreed,
to me
right?
is if you do the 6-inch tap, it's not just the cost of materials that I'm absorbing on the property. It will also be the re-engineering, running around getting everybody else to check that box off. See, right now, we've got the state in approved status for a 4-inch ductile iron. We'll have to go back, and they're the only ones that could jam us up, the health department or the state. They're the only ones that could jam us up and say, nope, we're not gonna let you put a 6-inch line in our state road.
Right here, right here.
I'll see what difference it make.
It does,
F 1250.
that's why Mr. Verbally, he didn't see an issue, but he cannot give an approval without seeing the plans. And the plans can't be drawn up unless you decide that you would rather have a 6-inch line. And like I said,
We
the
don't
only
have a say.
carrot that I can give you is an agreement that I'll give you 3 right-of-ways off the property for your future of being able to adjoin to other properties if they ever get developed. So you'll have less linear feetage of line to service more area.
Just throwing some numbers out real roughly, it looks like it's about at minimum rates, it's about a 3-year payback period to get the 25,000 tap fee back. So
That's not bad.
I'm up for anybody's motions or
And plus you
suggestions.
have the right of ways too. Them are
Yep.
Yeah,
really expensive to go to get them
That's-
footages.
yeah.
As long as he owns the lots to start out with, we got the right of way, right?
Correct.
Mhm.
I can grant these right-of-ways the way it is now
Yep.
by peg and signature. It's
Yeah.
titled exclusively in my name.
As long as you draw it in each lot plan, it's there, right?
Hmm.
As long as you put the right of way in each lot,
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
it won't be a right-of-way in each lot.
it'll be in a
What it will
road.
be is 3 right-of-ways, one to the back, one to the side, and one to this side.
Okay.
What I like to do is if we can all come to agreements, is meet somebody out there with not just my plot plan, but the surrounding plot plans to see which right-of-ways work, which locations of right-of-ways would work best for you. But yes, it would be running down a property line, so it would be half the right-of-way would be off of this person and half of it would be off of that person. A utility right-of-way.
Then knock down the Paul Chapels and all later on, we're not in the mess where we can't get through
Yeah,
there.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, in a way, we can lose on the porch.
Mm-mm. No.
I'll make a motion that we do the 6-inch line and we do the,
waive the fee.
waive a fee and get all the written agreements as far as right-of-ways and that sort of thing after we meet. After, see exactly where these are, and then we can do final approval. Does that make sense?
It does. Do I have a second on this?
No, I want to amend it.
Okay, go ahead.
And any house that don't have enough pressure, adequate pressure, it's on you, not us. For them two up there on top, that may have to have booster pumps.
I understand your concerns, and
Okay.
like I said, the only pressure test that's been done
Yeah.
has been off of the hydrant in front of the water tower.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get somebody bad water.
Okay.
So
Rick?
I'll just
either,
amend that, my motion to that. Because that's a good point.
All you gotta do is vote on my amendment and then
Yeah,
vote on
I'm
your
gonna
motion.
vote on his amendment.
I believe there's a minimum pressure, what is it, 20 PSI?
Ms. Dana?
Waiving the accessibility. One of the questions that we had, well, I had a couple comments here. This is, availability fees, the 25,000 that you're waiving, it's not the tap fee. So
Okay,
they still have to pay the tap fees that go along with it per place.
okay.
Right.
And, one of the things that, you might want to consider is when this line's put in as-built, you need to determine whether or not where the line's actually going to be based on where the plans are shown. Sometimes they're not quite in the same, and the taps that
Yeah.
are put in, so the taps will have to be put in either at the beginning or you're going to require tap fees. Somebody's going to come in later and re-tap those lines. So
Okay.
my
So-
question is, are you just running a 6-inch line all the way down without any taps?
At one time, and it's only just because different areas, us Yankees do things differently. I was under the impression that I would have to have done the taps and set the meter bolts with tails. And then I was told, no, when the new owner of the property is ready to build, they will call us and there will be a tap fee and we will be tapping our line and running our own. Once you bury that line and give us that line's ours. We take care of everything after that, and it will be between us and the person that's building the house. And I was like, okay, not a problem.
When I've ran in this, usually when you're running this before, you'd have the set of plans. The engineer would drop a set of plans if you're going to put a 6-inch line, if the flows will work out, the G Department of Health approve it. You never take over a line unless you have the right of ways. That's just part of it. I mean, it's you can't work on it, otherwise you stick a master meter right where it goes off to the property and then you just master meter and somebody else collects all the thing. And that's usually done in subdivision with an HOA or something similar to that. So what this project would consist of, if I'm not mistaken, is a 6-inch tap without the availability fee. Uh, It'll be approved by the Virginia Department of Health, and this board is accepting it as being constructed. Okay, and it'll you have to look at to make sure. I mean, with this pressure, I mean, I don't know if you really need ductile iron, but you can run PVC.
Ductile iron, and see, that's part of the communication that went
Yeah.
on between the PSA and the engineer after the plans had been approved.
Right.
It was picked up that I was using ductile iron because it's a material that I was quite familiar with, laid miles and miles and miles of.
Yeah.
And at that discussion, what was determined to make it simpler, because you don't have hardly any ductile iron, and they didn't want to buy special tools just to maintain mine. They want, since we were having this conversation about changing the engineering, one of the things that they asked is, could we change it into CP or PVC?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, or scheduled pipe, which is already very much used in the county. So not only did they want him to, he was going to submit those plans to the Department of Health. They were asking, as part of the negotiation at that time, that we change it from ductile iron to PVC.
And then
Saying it correctly.
then what you would do is add I guess is, if there was any lots that you were ready to sell now, then you would have the tap put in. Otherwise, you just have the meters you'd put the fire plugs in, fire hydrants in.
We would be putting
Design a fire hydrant.
in, and then when the person buys the lot, or I develop a lot, then I'll have to come back to the PIS, to the normal channel anybody else would, to get water service to that property.
And I guess the question I would have is, instead of having individual, and this can be talked about later, but you can have instead of having individual right-of-ways for each one, you're only going to the edge of the right-of-way anyway. So if you were to do, from the line, you have it depends on where the road's at, center line, and your agreement just saying that you have 20 feet on each side for utility easements. And then you wouldn't have to go in and you could put them anywhere down through there, as long as it was within the right of way of the road.
Because it is a state road, we're not talking about a narrow right-of-way. It's a shame, but I've got a 20-foot road and a 50-foot right-of-way.
Seen a lot of them.
Okay, so, and that right-of-way was set up for the utilities and the state. So the only person that you would have to confer with would be the state, like you would normally do on any other water line that's in a state right-of-way.
So there's already a right-of-way designated to utility and roads,
That is
so we wouldn't need any right-of-way work.
right. The additional right-of-ways that I keep speaking of would be running into a property to adjoin a property behind that I don't know.
You're saying if somebody else wanted to come in and develop a property behind you, we would have the right-of-way capabilities to extend this system onto another piece of property if we wanted to.
Exactly. And it's the
Then they'd
opportunity
be
to
mandatory
do it
hookup.
now on the front end,
But that close.
then have to run a whole bunch of linear footage later on down the road where because 6 inches is, other than the hydrants, 6 inches is more than sufficient for the number of units that I'm putting in.
Yeah.
And it can service many more.
So basically, going back just to kind of go over this again with Rex's motion is to waive the 6-inch tap fee of $25,000 and let Mr. Strauss build this water system and then build it and make sure it meets our requirements and the health department requirements, and then he'll turn it over to us. And basically all he's going to do is install the two fire hydrants. And then to add Gary's statement is that we will maintain those 3 right-of-ways. You'll
receive those.
we will receive those 3 right-of-ways if needed, plus
Actually, you'll receive those 3 right-of-ways when we strike a deal, and you have looked at the surrounding properties.
yes.
And figured what would be best right of ways
Okay.
for you.
And then the portion that Mr. Jessup wanted to add about the booster pumps if they were required, so. And then just go a little bit farther, maybe say that when a lot is developed, those people will do no more than what anyone else does now on a water system. They come to us and pay their fees and connect.
That's how I understood it,
Okay.
because I was gonna put the tap and tees in and set the meter vaults,
Okay,
and the PSA told me that that would be between the developer or the private property owner that wants water service in that.
so do we have a second on this motion?
Are you happy with that motion?
I just,
It
yeah,
just works.
I mean, I want a 6-inch water line because I know it's best for the community. I want to give you these right of ways because I know it's best for the community in the long run. You may never use these right of ways, but to have these in your back pocket, I know how water systems are. Maintenance is by linear foot. And if you can service my next door neighbor behind me for 100 feet of pipe instead of 1,000, you know, that's why I brought it up. I'll pay for the re-engineering. I'm going to have additional material costs, which will be 6-inch line. And I'll have the additional cost of those hydrants.
So do we have a second?
Yes.
Second. Any other discussion? Mr. Watson, you got any more questions or?
I guess the only other thing I have, I'm sorry, can't get used to this thing. Has the subdivision plat all been approved?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
To my great amazement, it wasn't approved. It was approved, but as into the water system, the only thing that was not approved was the state park department official. He received copies and he was asked. Now, he couldn't find his letters, but we have gotten copies of letters. Because I guess a good way to say it, he was doing his little process to approve it. And then this 6-inch line popped into my head. And then we kind of held up. And this has
Thank
been a while ago. It was 2008. You know, the markets crashed in 2009. And I just wasn't going to dilute the local economy by putting 40 lots in for sale. I should wait.
Right.
So there is one approval that, and the only approval that has not been approved right now has been the state health department, where we submit the plans and then he signs off. You probably know more of that process than I do. But DOT has approved it, the subdivision commission has approved it, the local health department's approved it, soil and erosion controls approved it.
I understand.
I mean, it's been through the whole gamut, and I honestly thought it was all done. If it wasn't for your call, I've been out there digging. And then Mr. Bunn, I'm trying to do this while Mr. Bunn is still going, because he's been doing it for a while. I hate to start over with another.
You need anything else, Mr. Watson? Are you happy now?
All right, we'll start the voting with you, Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Dr. Littrell,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. McCraw,
Yes.
Mr. Jessup,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Go to digging.
I'll contact Mr. Bunn and have him redesign the system to a 6-inch.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is authority members' time, and we'll start with you, Mr. McCraw.
Well, I don't have anything to add to it, so
Okay.
thank you for the time.
Yes, sir. Mr. Hill,
I don't have anything either.
Dr. Littrell,
Well, I hate to say ditto, but I don't have anything either, so.
you, Mr. Moore.
I'm going to talk.
I figured you would, and I'm okay with
He's
that.
got a half a page written down there. I don't know what it is.
No, this is, I just want to thank all the employees for all they're doing. And they've been reaching out to me a lot with the church out there on 100 and 221 at the intersection where they're considering building. I have talked to some of the PSA guys. I think the only thing we have there is force main.
Sewer was what the
Yeah.
concern was.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe and I don't, I'm speaking out of turn, but maybe the town might.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm sort of asking is if maybe we could get, you know, our minds together and maybe with the town or something and figure out exactly, you know, 'cause I don't know, and the,
I think we have a force main on the opposite side of 221, from their property.
right,
And I believe, from looking at the GIS, the town has I think theirs might be a gravity line.
I think that some of the issues, I think maybe the depth of it, you know, but,
On that side.
yeah, maybe Preston, some of them been around a while, could get us a little information that would be a lot easier on,
the town side.
yeah, on me, you know, and,
Yeah, we just couldn't serve them, but I told them that maybe possibly the town could, but I don't
okay.
know if
So they have contacted you then?
Yeah, they
Okay.
this has been a while back.
Yeah.
Because, water's not a problem.
Right,
But
yeah.
the sewer is.
Yeah.
We just had that force main.
Yeah.
Always.
all the way through and that's it, yeah, okay.
I think
You-
the town is closest.
If you would get the guys and y'all to check on that for me, that would help me, and,
So you like for us to get with Steve?
yeah, and, maybe Preston, some of the ones that's been around a while, knows exactly what's going on, to get them a little clarification. Other than that, I'm good.
Mr. Jessup?
I don't think I have anything. I do have something, but I'm not smart enough to figure it out. I guess it'll be the next meeting.
All right. Well, I do thank everyone for attending this evening and for everybody's comments and attention. And if there is nothing else, we'll adjourn this meeting. I will accept a motion for an adjournment.
Are we gonna adjourn or just move it till Monday?
Yeah, I mean, you just want to recess till Monday, would make it easier to do that? All right, I'll accept a motion for a recess till Monday at 4:30 for a budget session.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
So,
Have a second, any other discussion? Hearing none, everybody, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is recessed.